Are you a veteran like me and are thinking of making a move to the great state of Texas? Or maybe you want to move close to me in San Antonio, Texas? If so, thank you for your service. And if you're active duty or are PCSing to one of the duty stations that's located in the state of Texas, this video is for you. I was fortunate enough to be able to serve back in 2005 when I enlisted into the military. Quick stint on my story. I served about 6 years and I did boot camp in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And funny story about that is my job was artillery and my training for my job was also in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And when you graduate boot camp and then you get stationed where you need to do training for your job, when you're at that job training, which mine was about, I think, 8 weeks or 9 weeks or something like that, I believe you get assigned at that time your permanent duty station where you'll be going for the next 3 years or so for your first assignment on your duty station. So when I was in training, they had told me that I was one of the lucky ones who were stationed in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is exactly where I've been for the last 3-4 months in boot camp and training. And so I had asked, what do I got to do to get out of this place? How can I get reassigned to another place? I was young at the time in my early 20s and I was 19 years old and I wanted to travel. And so what they had told me is you can get reassigned. One of the ways you can do so is by jumping out of airplanes and going what they call airborne. And it's basically airborne is when you jump out of airplanes, C-130s and C-17s, and they have a school that's 3 weeks long in Fort Benning, Georgia. So once I volunteered to go airborne, they were able to reassign my duty station. So after airborne school, I was assigned to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where I finished out my full term there of about 5.5, 6 years. And during that time, I deployed 2 times to Afghanistan, the first time being 15 months and the second time being 12 months when I was actually supposed to get out during that deployment, and they held me past my contract date for about 8 months. But I hold the military community near and dear to my heart, and it was an experience I'll never forget. I've learned a lot of lessons and try to take away some of the great habits that I've learned there and implementing it into my business. And I also am able to contribute and serve the veteran community, hence the purpose for this video. I do want to break down exactly why I believe Texas is the best state for veterans, and let's get into it right now. If this is your first time to this channel and you're looking to know everything about Texas veteran benefits, or maybe you're thinking about living in San Antonio, Texas, then hit that subscribe button and tap that bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about all things living in San Antonio. My name is Ray Meyer and I run one of the top teams in the San Antonio, Texas area. And we get calls every day and text messages from people just like you. So whether you're moving in 9 days or 9 months, we would love the opportunity to help you make a smooth transition to the San Antonio, Texas area. And if you're actually one of the veterans that's moving to Texas in general, and maybe you're getting stationed at one of the other duty stations outside of the San Antonio area, just know that we have referral partners around all the duty stations in the Texas area, and we'd be happy to connect you with one of those referral agents. Just feel free to reach out to us or book a call at one of the links in the description. Now let's take a look at why Texas is considered one of the best states for military and veterans to live in. And if you stay till the end, I'm gonna give you a resource that helps veterans get their disability up to 100% and help educate them, and is the #1 resource I use and refer to veterans. So in this video, I'm gonna be giving you top 7 benefits that make Texas the most veteran-friendly state. I'm not giving you all of them, but I am giving you the top 7 that veterans love. So let's get into it right now and in no particular order. Starting with number 1, Recreational and lifestyle benefits. Texas's vast and varied landscape offers numerous outdoor recreational activities, from hunting and fishing to hiking and biking, often at discounted rates for veterans. Another benefit is state park admissions. Discounts on admissions to state parks are available for veterans, encouraging engagement with Texas's rich natural resources. When I first came to San Antonio, quick story, I actually ran into a buddy that I served in the military with, and not just anybody. He was actually my barber during my second deployment in Afghanistan, and also back in garrison when we were training to go overseas. So he cut my hair, a lot of my buddies' hairs that was in the military, and then also a lot of the higher ranking officers and enlisted during the time. And I went to my church for a men's conference, and I saw somebody looking at me weird and kind of sideways, and it was sunny. And lo and behold, it was my guy Perales. And shout out to Anthony Perales. He ended up connecting with me there, and I asked him what he was doing here, and he said he got out of the military, and his wife is actually stationed here, who's also, I believe, active duty, stationed at Fort Sam or one of the Army bases here. So long story short, he told me he goes fishing a lot. And so I told him, I don't have anything. I'm not a big fisherman, but he said, just come out there. It's actually free. You just got to register. So we went out to one of the lakes nearby, and all I had to do was show them my veteran ID card, and they had me fill out the paperwork, and they gave me a membership. Everything was free of charge. I got in, and so we just had a good time fishing. And the gentleman who registered me told me all the benefits that I have. We can go camping there, we can go fishing, and we didn't have to pay for parking, admission, anything like that. And he said a lot of the other state parks are just like that. We just have to show up and have proper identification. Next benefit is community and social support. Military-friendly communities. Many Texas communities have a high concentration of military families, creating a supportive and understanding environment that can make social integration easier for veterans. Veterans organizations and networks. Numerous local and national veterans organizations have active chapters in Texas, providing social, professional, and emotional support. One of the things I love so far about Texas as a veteran is that the nonprofits such as the VFW, the DFW, the DAV, there's a ton of nonprofits who are here to support veterans, and there's a plethora of VA hospitals and VA clinics around the areas throughout Texas. The third benefit that I'm talking about is the VLB programs, which also stands for the Veterans Land Board. Housing and home loans. The VLB provides veterans with low interest loans for purchasing land and homes, which can make home ownership more accessible and affordable for veterans. Texas operates state veterans homes, providing long-term care to veterans, which can be more affordable than private care options. Being in real estate and also having my lending license as a mortgage loan officer, I know that the VLB offers what's called the Texas Vet Loan. And the Texas Vet Loan is through the VLB, and you can get with them through an approved VA home loan officer. And what that benefit is it shows on their website that typically the interest rates they're offering are a little bit lower across the board, as it's a direct program completed with the VLB. And so if you need more information on the VLB, the Veterans Land Board, and what they have to offer veterans, I'll have a link in the description below. Texas benefit number 4 for veterans: healthcare accessibility. VA facilities. Texas is home to numerous VA hospitals, clinics, and long-term care facilities. Major cities like here in San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and Austin have extensive VA medical centers that offer comprehensive healthcare services. Specialized programs targeting PTSD, mental health, and rehabilitation services are widely available through both VA and state-funded initiatives. So a little bit on this. I come from California, and while I was there in California, it was where I transitioned out of the military in late 2010 and early 2011. And one of my first things that I did when I got out and I was going to school was I worked part-time at the VA hospital as a work-study coordinator, which is basically someone who works with veterans who are fresh out of the military. and are transitioning and attending school, and they want to work and gain job experience part-time at the VA hospital. So I was in charge of helping run that program. And being in the environment of the VA hospital in Fresno, California, it was a good environment. However, things were a little ran down. I think they did get more funding to ramp up the systems and processes, the staff, everything else there at the hospital, but the clinics were little to none. I do believe they have more clinics throughout that particular area. But when I came to San Antonio, I know there is bases around this city in particular, but I know people travel here to attend one of the clinics or the large Audie Murphy Hospital, which has been a great resource. And it feels like a regular hospital almost. And so some of the clinics also are brand new, and like the one on the far west side of San Antonio, it's very nice. The staff doesn't treat you just like a number. They actually care. They remember your name. They set the follow-ups. And overall, I believe the VA system is getting better. It just feels like a little bit more Southern hospitality, if you will, coming from California and attending the VA resources and the healthcare providers here in the Texas area. Texas benefit number 5 for veterans: employment support. Veterans preference in employment. Texas state jobs offer veterans preference in hiring, which helps ease the transition from military to civilian employment. The Texas Workforce Commission initiatives. The state has programs specifically designed to assist veterans in finding employment, translating military skills to civilian job roles, and providing job training and placement services. As a veteran who exited the military in late 2010 and tried to enter the job force coming out of the military after my active duty service, I know at that time it was very difficult for me to find a job. I think I applied at CarMax, I applied at just a lot of different corporations, sales jobs, cell phone jobs, things like that. I ended up landing a job at the VA, like I had mentioned earlier in this video, but it felt a little bit more difficult than I had anticipated to land a job at that time. When I moved to San Antonio a few years back, what I noticed was there was a lot of people offering jobs and a lot of initiative happening. I've seen job fairs, I've seen things on social media promoting things to veterans to come to the job fair because they want to hire veterans. Just a lot of resources for veterans to plug into, and if you are looking for it, you really will find it here if you're a veteran. And it seems like they're hungry to employ veterans, and they know our work habits, they know our history. It just seems like there's a bigger appreciation for employing veterans here in the state of Texas. Texas benefit number 6 for veterans is going to be educational opportunities. Starting off with the Hazlewood Act. This act is a hallmark of Texas's commitment to veterans, offering up to 150 hours of tuition exemption for eligible veterans and their dependents at state public institutions. This can be a substantial financial saving and allows for greater educational opportunities. Educational support services. Many Texas universities and colleges have dedicated staff and resources for veteran students, including counseling, tutoring, and veteran-specific career advice. So just touching on this subject a little bit, I looked up UTSA, which is the University of Texas at San Antonio, which is one of the state public institutions that qualifies for this program, the Hazlewood Act. So I mentioned up to 150 hours of tuition exemption for veterans and their dependents. And I looked up how many hours does it take to get a bachelor's degree at UTSA, and it says an average of 120 hours is what it takes to achieve a bachelor's degree in a general field. And so veterans and their dependents have an ample amount of tuition exemption to use and achieve their bachelor's degree or another career path in one of Texas's state public institutions. So whether you're going to somewhere like UTSA or Texas State University or UT Austin, those types of institutions qualify. You will have to get a list and reach out to one of your resources through the VA, or just go on campus. If they have a veteran representative, like I just mentioned, they'll have someone that you can talk through and make sure that you are using the benefits accordingly and everything that's available gets paid for. And just know that this program, from my understanding, and you'll have to fact check this somewhere, but from my understanding, this pays for your tuition and not other expenses like food, housing, or transportation. So just to verify everything, look up the institution that you're interested in attending and give them a call, see if they have a veterans representative on campus or an assigned veterans representative that might work remotely that you can talk to about using the Hazlewood Act for you or your dependents. And last but not least, veteran benefit number 7, we saved the best for last: generous financial benefits. Number 1 being property tax exemptions. Texas offers significant property tax exemptions, especially for disabled veterans. Veterans with disabilities can receive deductions based on their percentage of disability, and those with 100% disability may be completely exempt from property taxes. To qualify, an individual must be a Texas resident and possess a veteran's percentage of disability certified by the Veterans Administration or its successor or the branch of the armed services in which the veteran has served. A qualified applicant can receive this exemption on only one property, which must be the same for every taxing unit in which the applicant claims the exemption. Basically, you can only use this exemption on what's called your homestead property, which is your primary residence and the one in which you are living. So if you're like me or other veterans who are entrepreneurial and you're looking to acquire investment properties and build a monthly cash flow from rental units, you can only be exempt from one property, and that's your primary residence. So just keep that in mind for all you investors out there. Here's what you're awarded based off the following disability ratings. Here's how much you get in property tax exemptions if you are a partially disabled veteran. Veterans rated 10 to 29% receive a $5,000 property tax exemption. 30 to 49% receive a $7,500 property tax exemption. 50% to 69% receive a $10,000 property tax exemption. 70% to 99% receive a $12,000 property tax exemption. And if you are 100%, property taxes are wiped out for you in the great state of Texas. You do have to apply with your county in which you live in and fill out the homestead application and include supporting documents of your disability. So see your county tax office for more information. And if you're in San Antonio, I can give you the information for Bexar County here in the link description below. Another generous financial benefit for the state of Texas, and this actually isn't just for veterans, but let me show you how this applies to veterans, and it's no state income tax. Texas does not have a state income tax, which means military pensions and retirement benefits are not taxed, providing more financial relief to veterans. So coming from California, what I did know is that we can pay up to 37% in federal taxes, and that's anywhere you live. But the state taxes in California, depending on how much you make, can be all the way up to about 13%, depending on the tax bracket in which you fall in based off your income. Now, after reading a book, I think by Tony Robbins, and it might be one of his financial books, I believe it's Money Master the Game, he had mentioned moving out of California to Florida, and that the other states that are considered are Texas, Nevada, and then Florida, the one where Tony Robbins resides. So the big thing to think about, if you're not a veteran and you move to Texas, you do get the no state income tax benefit. However, the way Texas makes up for not having to charge income tax to its residents is that they charge higher property taxes. Everything else is still a little bit cheaper. Gas, groceries. Compared to California, you don't have to pay 10 cents for plastic bags when you bag your groceries. Little things like that are cheaper in Texas. However, the way they make up for not taxing people on income is gonna be property taxes. So if you are a veteran and let's say you're 100% disabled, like a lot of the other veterans that I know that have served 6, 10, 20 plus years, they're 100% disabled, which means they can buy their property with essentially no property tax, which can be almost up to a third of your monthly payment, which is huge. So consider that, having no state income tax and having either partial property taxes or no property taxes, and then having the lower cost of living in Texas. That wraps up all 7 benefits. And what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna give you a resource that I've used and that I've referred to other people just for educating themselves. We talked about benefits, having disability ratings with the VA, and a lot of us veterans don't know where to start when it comes to that. One of those websites is vaclaimsinsider.com, and I'm gonna pull it up here just to show you around a little bit. One of those websites is vaclaimsinsider.com. So I pulled it up here on the screen for you guys so you can kind of see what this company does, and lo and behold, it's actually a Texas company located in Austin, Texas. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna click on their main website, and what these people do is they help veterans make their VA claims and get their VA disability ratings up. And so they have consultations, coaching, and then their website is free of charge and it has a ton of resources. So as you can see here, if you feel like you're underrated, and by the way, I'm not endorsed, I'm not an affiliate, I don't work for them. I'm just saying this is a very good resource for veterans to tap into. You can create a free account and get email updates on their free newsletter. You don't have to pay for services, but if you are not rated by the VA with 0% and you're looking to get rated, or maybe you have rated at 10% and you want to get to 50 or 50 to 100, for example, this is a great resource to start on how you can go about doing so. So right here, strategy, education, medical evidence, but go here. This is my big hack for this video. I hope this website helps you guys. I would reach out to these people or even just browse around on their featured articles. But right here, you can see top 3 ways to get a VA disability increase. I don't know any of the guys here. I actually was able to get 100% with my own resources before even knowing about this resource. And then once I stumbled across these people, I said, man, I could have probably either done this by myself or did it in a shorter amount of time and got rated to 100 faster. When I got out of the military in late 2010, early 2011, I didn't get to 100% until COVID. So almost 10 years. I think I was 50% I got rated that in 2013 or 14. I got to 50%, and then I kept trying to fight to get higher based off my incidents that occurred during my service and things like that. So definitely worth taking a look at if you're not fully 100% service connected. I hope you guys found this video helpful. And if you're a veteran, again, I just want to thank you for your service. Feel free to reach out to me, even if it's not about real estate questions or Texas. If you just need to connect with another veteran and have a conversation, I'm always down for that. I love serving veterans and giving them my resources if I can help them in any way, shape, or form. Again, if you aren't subscribed to the channel and you've watched this long, thank you so much. We hope to see you on our next video, and thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you next time.